Okay, so I'm going to walk you guys through some of the items that you're going to see when you pull up the LEGO Mindstorms software. This is the software that you're going to use anytime you need to program the robot to do something. So when it starts up, you're going to see this software lobby. You can access the user guide and some other things, but what we're going to do is we're going to go straight up here to File, and we are going to start a new project. Alright. First thing you might want to do is close the content editor. I'm going to explain this stuff down here first. In the green tab, you've got several motor icons that you can use. This is for the medium motor, large motor. This is move steering, which means that you are coordinating both large motors, because these are typically the ones that are attached to wheels, so that you're moving them together. This one is called a move tank because this is the type of command that you could use if you wanted, for instance, one wheel to roll forward while the other one rolls backwards, which would cause something to turn. If you've ever seen a zero turn radius mower, that's the way those work. These other three green blocks we won't worry about quite yet. Okay, we have some more commands, flow control. We won't use too many of these right now. This is the start block, which your program always starts with a start block. This is the wait block, like if you wanted to have your robot wait for a second or two before it goes to the next step in your program, you would put that in there. Okay, if you're going to use sensors, these are your sensors that you could use. Okay, color sensor, gyro sensor, infrared, motor rotation, temperature sensor, timer. Where's some more? Touch sensor, ultrasonic sensor, and some others. Okay, this is some more blocks. These are more advanced. We won't get into those yet. Okay, more, a little bit more advanced stuff. And then this is blank. This is like if you make a program that you want to like boil down to one single command, you could create a my block, and that's where that would be. Okay, so we're going to start with just a simple move. Let's say we had the robot and we wanted to tell it to move forward for 2 rotations. Oh, where'd my little thing go? There it goes. Alright, so I would drag that move steering block up. Notice that I have 5 choices. I can either tell the motors to be off, to be on indefinitely, on for a certain amount of seconds, on for a certain number of degrees, or on for a certain number of rotations. I'm going to leave it on for a certain number of rotations. Notice that this little icon matches this icon. So here you're going to tell it how many rotations you want. Let's say I wanted the robot to roll forward for 10 rotations. Okay. This is your motor power. Remembering that in this block the motors are going to be moving together in the same direction. So I can put whatever in here. 50% power would be half power for your motors. Here, if it's 0, that means you're going straight. If you change this, let's say you change it to 100, that means you're turning to the right. Okay. If I put in -100, means I'm taking a sharp turn to the left, but I don't want to do any turning, so I'm going to leave that at 0. Okay. Alright, over here I have 2 options. I can either tell the robot when it's done doing what I asked it to do, it can either brake, which is basically stop suddenly, or it can coast, come to a gradual stop. And it won't take it long to come to a stop even if it's coasting. Okay. So I'm going to have it brake at the end. It's going to roll forward for 10 rotations. But how do I tell the robot that's what I want it to do? Well, I've got to have a cord that goes from the laptop or the computer to my robot. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to plug in my cable, my USB cable, into my robot. And when I do that, down here you notice that now I have two things showing up in the port selector. Okay, the port view is this view. Okay, usually this is what you get when you first turn it on. But to see what's plugged into each port, click this little thing. It kind of looks like a crown. Okay, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 ports available for motors. That's ports A, B, C, and D. And you have 4 ports available for sensors. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. So notice this is, I have a motor plugged into port B and a motor plugged into port C. And I need to make sure that if it says B and C down here, that it says B and C here. Because if my ports don't match, then the robot's not going to understand what to do, because you're telling it here that your motors are in B and C, plugged into B and C. And if they're not, in fact, in B and C, they're in something else, then it won't run the program. But anyway, so I've just, this is one simple step, and I want to see if my robot will do that. Well, so I want to download this program that I wrote to my robot. Remember, I had to plug it in, and I'm going to hit that button. Hopefully you heard that little sound. That means that the program is now on the brick on the robot, and I could unplug it at this point, go set it down, and run whatever program. Okay, I'm going to pause and clear this off, and we're going to start with a new... Actually, let me show you. Do you see that this is highlighted? All I have to do to get rid of that is just hit the delete button, and it's gone. Okay? Let's say I want to do more of a zero turn radius sort of situation. Notice on this one, my motors are powered individually, so I can set one motor power for one and a different motor power for another. If I wanted it to turn in place, a zero turn radius type of move, I would set maybe this one to -50, which means that wheel is going to turn one way, and this one's +50, so this one will turn with the same amount of output force, but in the opposite direction. Okay, again, I have the same options. I'm going to keep it on for rotations, and let's say I want it to turn around twice. Okay, I'll double check, make sure my ports where my motors are thought to be by the program are actually where they are. And then if I want to run that, I hit download. And this time it's thinking. Alright, so let me try it again. There it went. Okay, and let's say that I'm really just excited about this program and I actually want to save the program. I can double click the word program, and I can name it anything that I want. Probably it would be helpful if you named it something that will give you an idea as to what the program is and when it was created. So I might say February 24th. I don't think you're allowed to put any spaces in here. February 24th, move tank, because I just used a move tank block. Okay, so now I'm going to download it again, because now it'll come up on the brick as that name. Okay, alright, and then I can unplug the brick and I can go run February 24 move tank. Okay, well, let's say I want to do something else. So I'm going to, let's say I'd like to do a new program. And let's say maybe this new program involves me driving forward for one rotation. And then let's say I have some sort of arm attachment that I want to pick something up or drop something with. I'll probably use a medium motor for that. So I'll have to have a medium motor doing something. Okay, well, right now the medium motor is supposed to be plugged into port A, but notice there's nothing plugged into port A because I don't have a medium motor attached to my robot right now. So I would have to make sure I get that attached. Okay, but as long as it was attached, let's just pretend it was, I could do this. I would say this robot's going to drive forward for one rotation, and then it's going to raise or lower the arm by turning the medium motor for one rotation. Okay, if I only wanted it to raise or lower the arm 90 degrees, then that would be like a quarter of a rotation. Okay. stop instead of coast, etc. When I like that, I'm happy with it, again, I download it. Okay, if I decide that it works really well and I want to keep it, I double click here. I might put February 24th. I don't know what I'll call it. Move arm, because I'm going to try to move some arm. Whatever. Doesn't matter. But this is the way you do it. You just drag whatever you want to use and put it up here. Okay? Let's say that I wanted to use this program, but I wanted to make sure that I waited for 2 seconds between this command and this one. Well, then I could put a wait block in, and that basically says, hang on a minute, okay? We're gonna wait for a certain amount of time, and that would be in seconds. So let's say we wanted to wait for 2 seconds. Again, we just download it when we're ready, and you can unplug it and go use it. Okay? Alright, if you want to save this project, okay, notice my project doesn't have a name yet, and it's got a little asterisk, which indicates that that project has not been saved. Okay, go to Save Project. Okay. I'll have to talk to you guys about where exactly to save these, but for right now, let's pretend I'm going to put it on my computer. If you saved it, you'd probably put it on like a thumb drive or something. Okay. Maybe I'll put it under Lego. Okay. What do I want to save it as? February 24th practice programs. Something like that. And I would save it. Okay. And now it's been saved. And then I could go and find it again if I wanted to work on it or alter it in some way. Okay. I hope this helps you guys sort of get started. It looks really fancy and difficult, but it's really not that difficult once you start figuring out what all the little buttons and features mean. Okay? Thanks for joining me.